Following is the exclusive production of LVH1 and the Union North United School Corporation. Any retransmission or duplication of this broadcast without LVH1's consent is prohibited. Live from the LaVille Baseball Diamond. It's a baseball night in Lakeville, Indiana. The Lancers of LaVille take on the Colonials of Clay High School. Coming up next on LVH1. Welcome to another version and another edition of LVH1 alongside Dennis Feitz, our videographer for this evening, Miss Olivia Urban. I'm Matt Florian, very happy you're here with us at Lakeville. You are live at the Baseball Diamond here at the high school between the game tonight between the Lancers of LaVille, 11-9, coming into this contest this evening, and the Colonials of Clay High School. Clay brings in a 12-8 record, 7-5 in the Northern Indiana Conference. It's a non-conference game to prepare the Lancers for sectionals coming up. You hear in the background, Mr. and Coach Will Hostrauser, our fine athletic director and our pinch as announcer here at the baseball stadium when Mr. Steve Cox is not here. We're going to have our opening lineups.
Batting second at shortstop wearing number 2 is J.P. Kehoe. Batting third and playing center field, number 24, Mike Payne. Batting fourth at second base, number 8, Trenton Stoner. Batting fifth at first base, wearing number 33, is Colin Greavy. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, number 28, Nick Connor. He'll be batting for the pitcher, which is number 41, Jake Downing. Hitting seventh at third base, number 5, Carlos Ortiz. Batting eighth, playing right field, number 40, Jake Arndt. And batting ninth in left field, number 32, Cole Stevekin. The Colonials come in with a record of 12-8 and are coached by Mr. Joel Reinbold. And now the starting lineup for the LaVille Lancers. Leading off, playing left field, number 8, Nick Felke. Batting second, wearing number 2 and catching, Anthony Felke. Batting third at shortstop, number 4, Adam Steinke. Batting fourth, the pitcher, number 15, Parker Horvath. Batting fifth in center field, number 12, Justin DeClark. Batting sixth at first base, number 26, Jacob Fogel. Batting seventh at third base, number 14, Anthony Phegley. Batting eighth in right field, number 21, Josh DeLaurel. And batting ninth at second base, number 5, Riley Cox. The Lancers come in with a record of 11-9, and are coached by Mr. Brian Lawler. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, if you would please rise for the playing of our national anthem.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Your starting lineups and your national anthem, courtesy of Mr. Will Hostrauser.
This evening's
Umpires for this
contest,
evening.
working on the bases, Mr. Corey Stewart of Goshen. And calling the balls and strike behind home plate is Mr. Tony Gogler of Elkhart.
Tony Gogler calling balls and strikes. Corey Stewart controlling the bases here. It's a baseball night in Lakeville. First pitch coming up. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics.
Jamestown to Jonesville. From North Salem to South Milford. From River Forest to Grass Creek. No matter where you live in Indiana, you can enjoy high school sports coverage at its very best on the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. It's 35 powerhouse radio stations, Fox Sports Indiana, and the World Wide Web, combining their vast resources to blanket the state, the Midwest, and the world with the purest, most riveting presentation of high school sports in America. From Anderson to Attica, Kendallville to Kokomo, follow the high school sports that make our state great all season long. Thank you, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, and welcome home.
Alongside Dennis Fights, our videographer for this evening, Miss Olivia Urban, I'm Matt Florian. Very happy you're with us. Dennis, welcome to the broadcast and welcome to the other diamond here at LaVille. This will be our first one together, I believe, the first baseball game we've done. Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. I was going to say I've seen 3 or 4 baseball games this season, just parts of them. A couple of them after the girls' softball games I watched. Saw LaVille beat Triton here, which is very nice to see us always beat them. I saw LaVille lose a close one here. I believe that was against Elkhart Christian, and just a couple bits and pieces of other games when I was really crunched for time.
It'll be a good night for baseball here. Couldn't have asked for a better weather situation for sure. Sunny skies, a little bit overcast throughout the day. One giant threatening cloud earlier, but honestly right now this is baseball weather. This is baseball weather that we've been craving all day. For the Colonials in the top of the first, number 29, it'll be, as soon as I get this pulled up, Parkhurst, thank you very much. Colonials bring a 12 and 8 record in. Thank you very much. We'll get this sorted out here. Strike one. Good start to the day for Porter. Or Parker Horvath.
Just combine both of them.
Yeah, something like that. Strike two. Great start. Parkhurst, the catcher for the Colonials today. Staring down. Here's the sign from Felke behind the plate for the Lancers. Swung hard, fouled off. That'll be against the backstop. 0-2 the count to Parkhurst. Top of the first.
Horvath winding up.
Swing and a miss, and that'll be out number one for the Lancers. Great start for Horvath. Now batting number 2, J.P. Keogh, the shortstop for the Colonials. Clay was part of the shuffle with the Northern Indiana Conference. I believe they're in the Northern Division. Well, this will be – well, no, that's not true. I'm still thinking about football season. They divided the Northern Indiana Conference into the North and the South divisions for size for football. There is no such division, I believe, Coach Will. There's no division for the rest of the sports. That's correct. Called ball. 2-0 the count to Kehoe.
Horvath's just a little inconsistent to start off this game.
Straight down, called, strike one.
I'd have to say we have a pretty good view of the diamond from where we're sitting, and I think I'm directly behind the umpire. Just low.
3-1 the count. Horvath started with 2 strikes and a swinging strikeout for the top of the order. 3-1. Here's the pitch. Strike 2, full count for Kehoe.
He was looking for the walk. He just let that go by, and that was a beautiful pitch by Horvath.
That'll be ball 4 in the dirt. So, runner at first for Colonials, and now coming up to the plate, number 24, Mike Payne, center fielder for Colonials.
Number 24, Mike Payne.
Phegley playing first base for the Lancers.
Good to see him back in the lineup.
Yes, it is.
Called ball.
Last season he had an arm injury and he missed a fair amount of the season. Checking him at first and safe on getting back. Good block by Felke there. Anthony behind the plate, and his brother Nick, I believe, is playing left field.
Yes, he is. Felke brothers have been really exemplary this year. 2-0 the count. Parker checking first. Here goes the runner. Play at second, not in time. A little bit short by Anthony Felke. Good effort there.
3 balls and no strikes.
3 balls, no strikes, and a steal. So Kehoe advances to second base.
And strike 1.
Three and 1 the count. Parker checks the runner at second. Pitch. And ball 4. 2 walks. Parker's got 1 out, top of the first.
Second baseman,
Trenton Stoner coming to the plate for Clay. Clay's had a pretty tough schedule the last couple of weeks. They had a win on the 13th against South Bend Riley. They had a close loss at Glen. 9-8 was the final score down there in Walkerton. Won against Mishawaka. Lost against Whiteland. Lost against Whiteland again. And then lost at
South Bend
St. Joe. Pop up. Called for
Infield
by Riley
fly.
Cox. Fly out. Out number 2. And that'll be number 33, Colin Greavy, coming up to the plate for the Colonials. Runners at first and second. 2 outs, top of the first. Scoreless ball game.
And every game that was lost by Clay, besides for against St. Joe, they were in what seemed to be a competitive game. They didn't give a score by the innings. But against St. Joe, they lost by 10 runs. Every other game, they lost by 3 or 4 at the most. A couple of them were one-run games.
It's been either feast or famine for the Colonials so far this year. But then, I mean, competing against a team like South Bend, St. Joe, 8-1 in the conference, 13-5. They'll make a deep sectional run. Hopefully, in between innings, we'll be able to catch up with Lancer head coach. Just a second here.
Mr. Brian Lawler.
Mr. Brian Lawler, indeed. Outside. Ball 1. 1-2 the count. 2 outs, top of the first. Parker Horvath pitching for the Lancers. outside again.
Parker's trying to get him to chase just a little too much. He's not throwing any bad pitches. They're just a little outside the strike zone. The batter can see it.
Here's the delivery. Swung hard, fouled off. Up against the backstop. Way to waste one off by Greavy. 2-2, 2 outs. Here's a pitch. Swung hard. That'll be well connected. And that will be fouled just barely. So Lancers get away with one. Had the height, had a little bit of distance to make it interesting, but fouled off down the first base line.
He pulled that about 10 feet foul is my guess.
Yeah. A little bit too much to make it worthwhile. Count still remains at 2-2.
LaVille looking for a double play to end the top half of the inning.
Unnecessary. Force out at, and that's going to be a wild pitch. Runners advance to second and third. Full count now for Greavy. Felke did his best with that one, just trying to get up and around it, but that was well outside and quite high there from Horvath.
Yes, it is, and Anthony's a good friend of mine, and he admits he's not the tallest man.
Ball 4. So, loaded bases situation, top of the first. 2 outs.
Designated hitter.
And that'll bring up the designated hitter for the Colonials, number 28, Nick Connor. Runners everywhere for the Colonials. Here's delivery. Swung hard, fouled off. Phegley back at first base. Good to see him in the lineup. I've mentioned that already. I think this is the first game that I've been to that he's been playing. I don't know how long he's been back in after, I believe, was an arm injury that he's been dealing with throughout most of the season and the offseason.
Last I knew it was last season. I saw him in the Triton game and a couple other games I went to. But, I mean, having to head out so early, I didn't get to watch a lot of the game. But he's been playing first this year very well from what I've heard.
1-1 the count.
Fouled back.
Fouled back, nearly over the protective fence. One and 2 the count, 2 outs. Still scoreless, top of the first, but Colonials threatening with loaded base situation here. Here's the pitch. Ball 2. A little bit of chirping there from the LaVille faithful.
It was close.
I'll argue it's close. It's the same thing every good pitcher needs to work out quickly. Where's the strike zone for this particular umpire?
Got him.
Nope.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yep, that'll be dropped, but
base was occupied.
caught him
first.
looking. So, after 1, top of the first, we are scoreless. 1 strikeout for LaVille.
2 strikeouts.
2 strikeouts, that's right.
Just got that last one. And Clay left 3 runners on there.
Tough situation for the Colonials, loading up the bases. Tie ball game, you're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics. I was able to catch up with Coach Brian Lawler before the game, get his thoughts on facing the Colonials today. Coach, this will be the first time LVH1 is out for a baseball game, and on paper and from what the students tell me in the hallways at school, it's been a pretty good year. Talk about the 11-9 campaign that the baseball team's put together so far.
It has been a good year, considering we have 11 guys. They've been working hard. We've been getting better, like a lot of the high school teams. Play a good game, play a bad game, good game, bad game. I think these last couple of weeks, confidence has been growing. We've been playing a little bit better baseball.
This team, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's any seniors on the team this year. Talk about some of the juniors and sophomores and just how the team has gelled and looked for the leadership. Who's been your leaders this year that have really stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, no seniors. Like I said, 11 guys. And we had this talk with the juniors prior to the season about them in this unique situation where it's really their team for 2 years. And it's a good group of juniors, and they've really stepped up and been leading this team in the right direction.
It's been, for us anyway, just looking ahead to sectionals. In my world, I'm looking ahead already. But talk to me. You play Oregon Davis at Oregon Davis. I believe it's a week from this upcoming Monday, or later, I should say, the exam week. How do you keep the focus, obviously on the next 2 games for the regular season to finish that up, but also how do you keep your students focused, balancing the athletic side, the academic side, with exams right around the corner?
Sure, we've been talking all year about getting it done in the classroom. With 11 guys, we can't afford to lose anybody. Report cards, grades come out before the sectional, so we've been on about getting it done in the classroom, staying on top of that, especially these busy weeks we had. We got Wednesday, Thursday, 2 on Saturday, and then we start sectionals next week. So we're ready to go here. Hopefully finish out the regular season strong and get ready for a sectional.
Talk about the HNAC tournament that's coming up. I know, like, all coaches don't want to look ahead, but we don't have a tournament this year.
Baseball does not have the tournament. That's just a softball thing. Softball adopted that. We play everybody twice in the HNAC back-to-back. And then softball, they do the conference tournament.
Okay, jumping straight into sectionals. Talk about the team you're facing today. What are the keys to a Lancer victory this evening?
Catching the ball, throwing strikes, and hopefully getting some timely hitting should make us have a chance to win the game. It's going to be a tough game. We've got a good team coming in here, and hopefully we take care of what we need to take care of. We can come out on the right side.
Best of luck tonight, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics. Bottom of the first, Nick Felke at the plate for the Lancers. He's facing a 3-1 count. Here's the delivery. Swung hard, fouled off down the first base side.
Downs is on the mound for the Colonials.
Full count to Felke. Here's the delivery. Swung, fouled again. Way to waste one off. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks for the next, for the softball team and the baseball team. Swung hard to that's left
gone.
Field, and that is not gone, but over the head of the left fielder. That'll be a double at least, and safe at second.
Stand-up double.
Was that a hit, Dennis?
I would say so. He misread that pretty poorly.
Commenting for the Lancers, the catcher, number 2, Anthony Felke.
Felke following Felke at the plate. That'll be Anthony, our catcher for tonight, looking to build on the work that his brother's done. Brother's got a good lead at second, pardon me.
Well, Nick is the little brother, and Anthony always says he taught Nick everything he knows. Some days I question that, but most days
I leave that one alone. I leave that one alone.
I try to.
Both of them work. That'll be tough. Safe. Whoo, boy, howdy. We'll make sure we're trying to zoom in on that next time. That's all right. Olivia Urban's doing this is her first ever baseball or softball game. I think you didn't do camera the last softball outing, so this is her first time on camera. She's been doing a pretty good job so far. We'll get her to follow the ball, follow the action a little bit. Nearly a fallen down. Nick Felke picked off at second base. He is safe because of a errant throw. 2-0 to Anthony. Inside, ball 3.
That's where your first base coach needs to be hollering if the shortstop or second baseman's bouncing in and out, because, Nick had a nice lead, but he just couldn't see who was at the base or anything, and now he's being a little more timid on the lead, and a strike to Anthony.
3-1 now to Felke. Tipped, fouled off. Looks like that caught our home plate umpire, Tony Gogler, looks like it caught him on the ankle. Shaking it a little bit as he retrieves it.
And a walk.
So he turns the full count into a ball 4, base on balls. And next up for the Lancers will be the power hitter number 4. 3 in the third in the lineup, number 4, Adam Steinke.
He stepped up this year as a team leader, some of the players have told me.
Boy, didn't he.
Wild
and
throw.
over, and that'll send Felke. That'll send Nick Felke to third base. Anthony thought about it, but the cutoff run was wisely thrown to second. So runners at the corner for Adam Steinke, who's hitting .500 on the season. I actually think it's closer to .563. I'll double-check those numbers in a moment. We are live on Twitter at LVH1 Live. We're tweeting every half inning with updated stats.
Yes.
So please do follow us if you do the Twitter thing.
Nice
Hit
pop.
hard. That's to the gap, left and center field. Over the head once again, and that'll bring one and possibly, nope,
RBI
they're going to hold.
double.
They're going to hold. An RBI double for Adam Steinke, and his hot streak continues. It's a 1-0 Lancer lead.
Wise decision by the Lancers there not to have Anthony go. He's fast, but the ball was coming in very speedily. And already a meeting out on the mound called by the catcher.
Yeah, I think he wants to settle things down. I mean, there's been a couple of given up runs.
Actually, my apologies. That was by the coach.
I see. Okay,
He
coach,
looked like he looked like a player from my angle.
the youthful exuberance.
Yes, it was. I saw him start walking away before any of the other players. I'm like,
Now batting
there
for
was
the
one too many
Lancers, the
players in
pitcher,
that
number
huddle.
15, Parker Horvath.
Number 15, Parker Horvath at the plate. He's pitching tonight. He's got runners at second and third. No outs. Top of the first. Lancers have a 1-0 lead after a Steinke RBI double.
Pretty breaking ball there, but smart decision to lay off for the first pitch. Downs hasn't thrown many of those.
Swung hard.
Second consecutive breaking ball to Horvath. If this is a trend, he's going to throw a lot of breaking balls to our left-handed batters.
Here's the pitch, well outside. Good job by Parker standing up, getting to it. I'm going to see if we can get from Coach Will. Do you happen to have a roster for the Colonials? That'll be popped up.
Foul.
And that'll be well out of play. See if we can get a roster real quick just to take a look at. Well, I was looking more for height and all that fun stuff because I could. It was Parkhurst, the catcher today for the Colonials, stood up, and I could have sworn he was 7'2" from my vantage point.
And
Swing hard and out number 1 for the Colonials. Down goes Parker Horvath, and up next, number 12, Justin DeClark.
Now batting for the Lancers, the center fielder.
Center
number
field
12, Justin
tonight.
DeClark.
I don't know how tall their catcher is, but he does have a rather high stance for a catcher when he gets up to throw the ball. I mean, he gets down in a really good catching position as well for his height.
Oh, 0-1 the count to DeClark. Runners at second and third. Watch ball 1 go through. Here's the pitch. Outside again.
Strike
Called
called.
strike.
Must have painted the corner. But one of the things I'm really seeing from LaVille is we have 3 right-handed batters going with the Felke brothers and Steinke. Then you have Horvath and DeClark, who are both lefties, and then Phegley can be a switch hitter depending on what he needs.
Called strike 3. Caught DeClark looking.
Now coming to the plate for LaVille. First
So that'll
baseman,
be
number 26, Jacob Phegley.
strikeout, I believe that'll be strikeout number 2.
Yes, back-to-back by Downs.
Yeah, for Jake Downs, the pitcher for the Colonials. Phegley at the plate.
That's
Deep
a
drive
drop
to
in.
center field. That'll be over the heads. That'll bring in 2. He will hold at first, but the damage already done. RBI single for Jacob Phegley.
2 RBI. Single. Giving LaVille a 3-0 lead
Now batting
here
for LaVille,
with
third
2
baseman,
outs
number 14,
in the bottom of the
Anthony
first.
Phegley.
Three hits for LaVille with 3 runs scored.
0-1, strike 1 is called to Phegley. One and one. He's got Phegley over his left shoulder. Here's the delivery. Called strike 2.
Nice breaking ball. I think that was a slider.
Stoner's been really doing a great job of painting the corners and the edges throughout this game so far.
Downs has done excellent.
In the dirt, nearly lost. Phegley decided to stay home, keeping close to first base.
Phegley is known for his smart base running decisions. Once in a while, coach tells him to go, and something might happen, like an out, unfortunately, but usually he's a heads-up player.
2-2 delivery from Downs in the dirt, so it's a full count for DeClark, or I'm sorry,
Phegley.
for Phegley. His delivery swung hard, fouled off.
Full scoreboard with balls, strikes, and outs, so that will say that Phegley will be moving on the pitch.
3-0 lead for the Lancers, bottom of the first, 2 outs, full count
Back.
to Phegley. Close call. Downs can get it to first base quickly there. Greavy with a good snatch, not in time. Safe at first for Jacob Phegley still. Here's the sign, here's the delivery, and that'll be...
3 strikeouts.
That's a
at the
strikeout.
inning.
No, they called it strike. A lot of confusion there. They called it a strike. Very interesting. A little bit of confusion on the Lancers.
Yes, it was.
Phegley was advancing to second. Phegley was jogging to first. Not sure what was going on there, but as it is, it's a 3-run bottom of the first for the Lancers. LaVille leads 3 hits, 3 runs, 0 errors, 2 strikeouts for the Lancers, 3 strikeouts for Clay. 3 is stranded 3. The Lancers have stranded 1. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics. We're back here at the LaVille Baseball Diamond. It's a 3-0 lead for the Lancers. Now coming to the plate for the Colonials of South Bend Clay, number 5, Carlos Ortiz. Third base. Third base. I was right. The numbers, you understand, Dennis, the numbers always threw me off. The 1, 2, 3. It took me a long time, and obviously I still haven't quite gotten it.
I was there at one point, but about the age of 11, I was getting that. Well, I started
Boy,
doing...
tell me how you really feel about my intelligence level.
No, just... Well, I've been playing baseball or a form of it since I was 5, and I was doing scorebook at 8. So,
That's right.
I've been very
Swung
knowledgeable
hard.
about the game.
And that'll be, I think, just... Yes, it will be. That'll be foul.
That's about 20 feet foul there. Kept hooking to the right.
One of these days, we're going to have to get a microphone closer to the
student section.
Not to the student section, to the field itself. One of the things we were saying the other day for the
girls softball on Military Appreciation Night.
Very good to hear the fans. Right back at Horvath. He's looky what I found. Straight up, straight down. So, out number 1 for the Lancers, and that'll bring up numbered 40, Jake Arndt, to the plate for Clay, right field.
Right fielder number 40, Jake Arndt.
Parker made that look very graceful.
That was, and that we saw a couple of those plays throughout the last couple of weeks at the softball field. You almost, on the one hand, they're cool to watch, but you almost worry every single time there's a hard hit back at the pitcher. Unless it's a grounder like that, it goes in, takes a lot of the energy off that ball because, how many times we've seen at all levels of sports, for Little League, for high school, for the majors. I mean, you just take it and sometimes the pitcher's pretty defenseless.
Even some position players, I mean, third's always been the hot corner, and I've seen a couple third basemen take some hot shots as well. Or the person I feel worse for is the catcher. I mean, even though you have a lot of padding, if a foul ball goes off wrong, it hits your bare hand or it hits something else. Doesn't feel that good.
2-1 the count to Arndt. Here's the pitch outside. That'll be ball 3. 3-1. Parker Horvath been little, I don't want to say struggling just yet. He's had really good, solid defense behind him. But he's been working hard on this one. He brings in
fly ball,
and that'll be up, and they'll have to chase that down over the head, but just in time. Great catch there, recorded by Justin DeClark in center field. Out number 2 for the Lancers, and that's what I meant. I couldn't have come at a better time. Defense will help you out. And Parker tips the hat to DeClark. He knows he saved a good hit there. That'll bring up Cole Steinke. Parker's been doing a fantastic job. Now I'm looking at he's 0-2 as a starter, but he's only given up a 1.21 ERA,
which isn't bad at all.
Not at all. It's just so you got to wonder. If it's and again, I'll be the first to admit I haven't followed the baseball team as closely as I should have this year, but they've put together a very impressive campaign. Hit again in the direction of DeClark underneath it, and that'll be 3 up, 3 down, and that'll do it for the top of the second. The Colonials of Clay, there we go, didn't add anything there. No hits, no runs, no errors recorded. And that'll bring up the bottom of the second. Lancers lead 3-0. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics. Back here at the LaVille Baseball Diamond, your Lancers have a big lead over the Clay Colonials, 3-0. Bottom of the second coming up. Stepping up to the plate for your Lancers, number 21. That'll be Josh DeLaurel. Alongside Dennis Feitz, who's doing stats and color for us today. Strike one to DeLaurel. Alongside our videographer for this evening, Miss Olivia Urban, I'm Matthew Florian. Also joining us here in the press box, the incomparable Mr. Cox, the incomparable Coach Hostrauser. What? We're going to get him on a headset at some point soon. He does a great job for us with Game Changer. He does a great job for us as an athletic director. He's been working hard, making sure that everyone is happy, or at least doing his best. The softball, baseball coming up. I didn't realize that we had no HNAC
baseball comp.
Well, no, we have a.
I mean, you mean the playoffs?
Playoffs, yeah. That swung hard. And that's 2-2. DeLaurel getting a little bit of sass there from his dugout. Jacob Phegley making sure he encourages his teammates in his own special way. 2-2. Here's the delivery straight up over the head of the pitcher. Might be a close play at first. And that'll be it. Tag out, or
6-3.
Force out at first base. Good effort there by the shortstop for the Colonials.
Second baseman, number 5, Riley Cox.
Keogh, the easy toss over to first. A little bit of a whiff there by the pitcher. Riley Cox at the plate for the Lancers. Swung hard. Miss. Strike one. It's good to hear some of the commentary from Coach Will. Riley, he's played in all 20 games. High, called strike. Whew. He wants that one back. They're calling for to sacrifice the chicken. Swung hard. That'll be a connection. Good stretching run. And that'll be out recorded for the Colonials.
Ortiz on the throw.
Yeah, coming over from third base, making the play. That'll bring up the top of the order. Nick Felke, number 8, coming up to the plate for LaVille. And Cox, I mean, I've talked to his dad, who we'll have hopefully in the broadcast a little bit tomorrow, Pastor Steve Cox. And, he said, that's ball one to Felke.
Pastor Steve Cox is his grandfather.
Grandfather, yeah, I'm sorry. Did I say father?
Yes, you did.
Great. Anyway, swung hard. That'll be left field hit. And there's Felke. He will hold at first. So, base hit for Felke, 2 outs. And here comes Nick Felke, seeing if we can drive something in.
Anthony Felke, Nick's on first.
That's right.
A little trouble with the names today.
Felke and Felke.
Anthony Felke.
But anyway, Pastor Steve talking about grandson, Riley Cox. He's Riley's batting 132 on the year. 53 at bats, 10 runs, 7 hits. And it's Pastor Steve says, he's just a freshman. He's got a big body to grow into, but boy, once he figures out how to swing the bat, he's going to be a monster player, and I couldn't agree more.
Well, even having the low batting average, playing all the games, means he has to be making good plays in the field.
Absolutely, and that's the all-around contributor that Riley's been this year. Just working hard. Another toss over to first. 2-0 the count, 2 outs, bottom of the second. Lancers lead 3-0. They've had 1 hit this inning.
One of the things I saw on your stat sheet for our players was Phegley's only been in 3 games, it says officially, which would mean he has been out a majority of the season with some type of injury, maybe that arm reoccurring or something.
Safe at second. Nick advances to second. Bad exchange there. Parkhurst behind the plate couldn't get a hand on it. Saw the runner going, couldn't get the throw in time. So Still, though, I mean, and that's just impressive. Fouled off. Full count then for Anthony. That's just impressive. Parker's, I mean, still almost beat Nick Felke to the plate. I mean, you talk about the arm on that young man behind the plate for Clay.
I'd say Nick Felke is by far one of the fastest Lancers on the team.
Ball 4. He noticed Felke hesitated a little bit there. Almost wasn't sure. The way that the bottom of the first ended for the
Lancers.
For the Lancers, they really, they weren't sure. Apparently it wasn't clear enough, even though the umpire behind the plate for us tonight, our IHSAA umpire, Mr. Tony Gogler, really punched him out. I mean, apparently it wasn't clear enough for the Lancers.
I thought it was a slight bit delayed, but it seemed to be the right call. It was very close to the strike zone either way you want to look at it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Downs has been doing, just painting that strike zone, those corners and the edge just all night. Swung hard, center field. That might be something. That might be at the fence. Adam Steinke, he'll go to third. And here comes the play at the plate. Safe at home.
Good call there on the double by Steinke. 2 more RBIs for him.
What an athlete that young man is. Adam Steinke just doing a phenomenal job. Now, okay, Mr. Expert.
Okay.
2 RBI double or 2 RBI triple?
2 RBI double. He advanced to third on the throw home.
All right.
But still a heck of a hit up to dead center. And then the 2 Lancer base runners being heads up, especially Anthony, to score because that was a close play at the plate. Nick was in easily. But Anthony really had to work for that. Good call by Coach Lawler there, too, to send him home.
And that will be it's on the subject of changes there, that'll be the end of the evening for the Clay pitcher. Downs has given up, we'll have to double check, I'll update, that'll be
the 5th LaVille hit.
5th LaVille hit and
5 runs.
Yeah. So, tough outing for that young man, and that'll be a change in the position for the Colonials. I'll double check this. I believe it'll be Gio Jackson coming in for the Colonials on the mound. Downs will head to the dugout.
I do not know exactly who is on the mound. We'll try to see next time he turns around, and he is not giving us a good view. But not a good sign if you're having a pitching change in the 2nd inning after only recording 5 outs in the game. LaVille is playing outstanding, though. Really, the top 3 batters of the lineup, between Nick Felke and Steinke, you have 4 hits of LaVille's 5 hits. They have scored 3 of the 5 runs. Adam has 3 RBIs. So far it's a very good performance for them.
Not a bad outing for the Lancers at all.
Horvath working on timing up the pitcher.
Horvath as well as DeClark in the circle.
For the Colonials is number 11, Gio Jackson.
You are correct. That is Gio Jackson.
For the Lancers, number 15,
Parker Horvath coming up to the plate. Parker's another young man. He's he's a junior. He's played in all 20 games, I believe, and he's batting .289, only .289. I say only because he's been, in class and in the hallways. I give him a little bit of grief, but he definitely wants a lot more out of himself. He's been pushing himself pretty hard this season. One of the good junior leaders here. Strike 1 called.
Well, if you look for the Lancers, they don't have any seniors on the lineup, and I believe tomorrow is the last home game for the boys.
Indeed, yes. 3 of the juniors. No, I'm check that. 1, 2. We've got
5, 6, 7.
I was going to say 3. I don't know where I got 3 from.
I don't either. 3 freshmen.
Yeah. Good, strong program here. Good, strong team coming up next year for the Lancers. And really, it's a pretty well put together team this year. They've had a couple of tough losses for sure, but, you can't go wrong in the HNAC with a 9-7 record. I mean, they've got a very good run at their sectional.
11-9 record overall.
9-7 in the conference.
Oh, 9-7 in the conference. Well, that is still a very good standing in the conference.
2-2, bottom of the second, 2 outs, 5-0 is the lead for LaVille. Here's the pitch, and that'll be check swing.
Got him.
Parker didn't appeal, but I don't know what the rules are on that, if it's the end of the inning like that. As is, we go to the top of the third. The Lancers in command of the scoreboard, 5-0 in favor of LaVille. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics. Top of the third coming up, and it's Colonials trailing the Lancers of LaVille. It's number 29, KG Parker's at the plate. Top of the order for Clay. Here's delivery from Parker, strike one to get the inning going. Alongside Dennis Feitz, our videographer Olivia Urban, I'm Matt Florian. Very happy you're with us here on a beautiful evening for baseball. Here's delivery. That'll be ball one.
I'm amazed he didn't take a hack at that. That was close to the zone. But Parker's really gained some control, and especially with his off-speed pitches from last season.
Swing and a miss there by Parkhurst. 1-2. And that's, Parker Horvath, I mean, he's a really good all-around athlete as well. Here's the pitch. Called ball.
I agree with that one. A little outside. Trying to get him to chase, though.
Trying to get him to chase, and I think still trying to figure out what he can do against this umpire. I mean, it's not just the batter, it's the umpire you want to play against, too. That'll be a ball, full count.
He's wanting a little more of the outside edge than the umpire has given him, and the umpire has been calling it very consistently, to say the least.
Swung hard, and that'll be a base hit to left field.
First one of the day for Clay.
He'll hold at first base, and that'll bring up number 2, J.P. Keogh. So, Keogh at the plate, Parkhurst at the first base bag. Clay looking to dig out of a 5-0 hole. Parker takes a long look at first base. Gets a sign from Felke behind the plate. Delivery. Strike one. Lost it behind the plate, and that'll advance the runners to second. Just a bad bounce into and out of Anthony Felke's glove there.
Yes, it was. Anthony's done a really good job of blocking balls this game so far, but that one just one funny hop.
Two and one to Keogh. Runners at second. Long lead off of the second base bag. Here's the delivery. Strike two.
One thing I've seen from the season totals for our boys is we had 124 in the third innings pitched, and we've had 136 strikeouts thrown by our pitchers, which shows very good prowess on the mound.
Including, and that's the thing, there's a hit to the shortstop, and that'll be over to first base.
Got him.
Jared Phegley.
Jacob Phegley getting it from Steinke. Beautiful.
Full stretch there, full flex by Phegley. I said Jared, I meant Jacob. I apologize for that. Doing a great job holding down the first base side. And that'll bring up number 24, Mike Payne.
Batting for play number 24.
Runners at
Mike
second, one
Payne.
out, top of the third. Parker gets the sign. Here's the pitch. Called ball, a little bit low.
But, I mean, just going through these numbers, Horvath has 37 strikeouts, Steinke right behind him with 36, DeClark with 24, Phegley with 21. I mean, pretty good numbers for the LaVille pitchers.
136 Ks on the year. I mean, that's not a bad That's not a bad set of numbers for an 11-man pitching staff.
Oh, no. Well, you could add 2 to that today from Horvath.
Here's the pitch. Swung hard.
That's
Popped
out.
up and out. Heads up, heads up. And that'll send players scurrying out of the dugout, chasing it down for some young fan runs off with a new souvenir. 1-2, 1 out. Parker with the pitch. Up, and that'll be to DeClark. He's not going to get there in time.
Almost.
Stretches it out. And that'll be a chance at a run. Here comes the relay from Steinke. He's not going to attempt it. 1 run scores for the Colonials, so it's an RBI double
Yes. Well-placed
for
hit.
Payne. Really good hit there to deep center field. DeClark had a hard time chasing it down. And that'll bring up Trenton Stoner, second baseman for the Colonials.
It looked like DeClark misread that just a hair, but he gave maximum effort after that.
Chopper to shallow third base. Phegley with the tag to the bag. That'll be out number 2. Took a couple of steps to third base, said, hey, you just stay right there, Payne. You're not going any further. So that'll bring Greavy up to the plate. Colin Greavy.
Phegley with a nice throw over to first, and Steinke trailing the runner, making sure that somebody was covering third so he wouldn't just try to make a big run towards home and maybe have a free base to get back to.
Parker delivers strike 1 to Greavy. 2 outs. Lancers have given up two hits and a run. So there goes the perfect game, I guess. But
second batter went the perfect game.
Yeah.
Parker gave up a walk, but he's been pitching very well.
We don't call the perfect game no hitter perfect game. We're going to make that distinction.
No,
you're going to pick on him like that, Dennis.
I'm going to say a perfect game is a no hitter. A no hitter cannot be a perfect game now.
Dennis the merciless.
It's just
Ball
by rule.
Ball 2.
In a perfect game, you have no base runners. In a no hitter, you just have no hits allowed. There have been pitchers that have actually lost games with no hitters due to they've walked in a run or two, which is very unfortunate. But it's just
well hit, and that'll be
game.
fouled off down the first base line.
If that was fair, it might have been a home run.
That would have been a home run.
But that was a good 30 or 40 feet foul.
That'll send Austin Stanley Horvath chasing after it.
Actually,
nope, he's going to give up. It's going to be.
Well, I think it's on the other side of the fence, and he couldn't see it.
I think that may be fouled off again.
But
He'll get this
right.
one.
Yeah, I was going to say that one's right to him.
That may have ended up on the tennis courts. I mean, that was absolutely nailed by Greavy. That would have.
That had to be about.
That would have been the
320
distance.
feet.
2-2, 2 outs, top of the third. Runner at third for the Clay Colonials.
And a full count now.
Inside. We'll get that from Coach Will. That's how far is our center field fence out there, Coach?
Yes, I think you're
360.
correct.
Here's delivery. In the dirt. Ball 4. Parker Horvath, a little bit of frustration there. So runners at the corner for Horvath. And that'll bring Nick Connor up to the plate. A little bit of conversation there. Anthony Felke talking with signs to his pitcher, just trying to calm him down. No doubt getting the signs from the dugout, and I'm passing them along to his pitcher. Parker gets the sign, takes a look over his shoulder to first base. Here's the delivery inside. Ball 1.
LaVille has been playing outstanding. Just a couple minor things. Those 2 big hits and fair ball.
Man, that's going to be a tough one to get. So that'll be a run scored, and then runners advance to third. So it's a 5-2 game.
Just a scorcher down the line. I think Phegley just thought it was going the other way, and beautifully placed hit.
Yeah, good stretch there at first base for Jacob. Carlos Ortiz at the plate for the Colonials, and they've been on a bit of a tear. It's a 2-out situation still.
Since they have got their second out, they've had a walk and that base hit right there.
Ball 1. A little bit of inconsistency there coming back from Parker. And, you know, he can't allow the situation to get into his head. There's strike 1.
No, he can't, but Ortiz last time up hit that nice hit right back at him. And I don't think he's paying attention to that right now. He's paying attention to, you gave up a couple runs. You want to stop the bleeding and get the bats in your hand.
Popped up. That'll be right field. Can't play it. That'll be drop, and that'll be straight in. Another run will score. Runners at second and third. Josh DeLaurel couldn't get under that in time. Misplayed it just a little bit. That was just enough to drop it in, and it's a 5-3. So Clay cutting into the lead they've built up, or that the Lancers have built up. Jake Arndt at the plate. Here's delivery. Ball 1. Still 2 outs. It's just tough to remember that this is the situation. He's given up 2 runs in a 2-out situation. Here's delivery. Strike 1. 1-1 in the count to Horvath. His delivery popped up. That'll be to Clark's ball if he can play it.
And he does.
And that'll do it. For the top of the third, Lancers give up 3 runs. The score stands at 5-3 in favor of LaVille, but the damage done by the Colonials coming back in this game. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics.
Hitting off the bottom of the third for the Lancers, number 12, Justin DeClark.
Bottom of the third here at the Lancer baseball diamond. Justin DeClark at the plate for the Lancers. 5-3 lead after a 3-1 run top of the third for Clay. DeClark at the plate. On the day, he's swung out.
Had a
looking,
strikeout looking.
Yeah, strikeout looking earlier.
Pitcher's bringing the heat for sure.
New pitcher there. 1-1 is the count. At least according to what he held up. Swung hard to Clark. Strike 2.
And Jackson with the windup.
Into the dirt. Ball 3, full count. Pitch fouled off. Hard hit by DeClark, but bounced back on the left side of the backstop here at the baseball diamond. Here's the pitch. Inside, ball 4. Base on ball for DeClark. Still hitless on the day, but gets on base, and that'll bring up number 26, Jacob Phegley.
Currently, he is 1 for 1 and has 2 RBIs on the game.
Not bad for coming back. I mean, that's, Phegley right now, he's batting .222. 9 at-bats, 2 hits. Not terrible for someone that's only played 3 games. And I don't think that he could have come back at a better time, facing down the sectional schedule. Very beatable, according to assistant coach Mark Elliott. Caught up with him before the day started this morning. Fouled off the first base side. 0-2 to Phegley. 2 strikes, no outs. 5-3 lead, bottom of the third.
DeClark getting an aggressive lead.
Takes a long look at third. Here we go. And that'll be
Strikeout
called
looking.
strike.
For LaVille, number 14,
Jacob Phegley
Anthony
stared down
Phegley.
Mr. Gogler behind the plate there, but just shook his head and kind of walked it off. That'll bring up Anthony Phegley, number 14. Swung hard. Chasing that one down. Painting the top of the strike zone. Inside. He didn't swing at that one.
No, he did not.
Gio Jackson just flinging the heat. Time called. He's going to toe the rubber a little bit, make sure it's set the way he wants it. Dennis Fights doing color and stats. Olivia Urban, our videographer. Matthew Florian is your play-by-play. Strike 2. 1-2 the count to Phegley. 1 out situation. He's got a runner at first base. Jackson gets the sign, takes a long look at first base again. Another strikeout
looking
for the Lancers.
6 on the
Now
day.
batting for the Lancers, number 21, Josh DeLaurel.
That's going to be a problem if it continues. The Lancers have had 6 strikeouts out of the 8 outs they've earned in this game.
Strike called. I wish I had more stats from the Colonials of Clay High School. My usual go-to is the
Max Preps.
Max Preps, invaluable resource to coaches and players, and swung hard. Tough one to face for DeLaurel.
Well, Jackson's faced 4 batters. He has 3 strikeouts and a walk.
In the dirt, ball 1.
And the walk he issued on 7 pitches to Clark, who was fighting off a couple nice pitches down the middle.
High, nearly over his head. Well, over the head of DeLaurel. 2-2, 2 outs, bottom of the third. Lancers lead 5-3. Runners at first base. Time.
Getting the sign from coach.
No, I think the coaches were double checking the scoreboard. It is 2-2.
Ah.
No doubt that'll change up the signs they give. That'll change up the strategy. Check first base. Gets the sign. Here we go. Swung and miss. That'll do it. He's faced 6, I believe now. 5. And he has
4 strikeouts.
And he has 4 strikeouts
And
in a relief position. Gio Jackson for Clay has the Colonials competitive. They trail 5-3 over behind the LaVille Lancers. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics. Top of the fourth here at the LaVille softball or baseball diamond. Got to get out of one press box and into the other. Number 32, Cole Steinke at the plate for Clay. A trail by 2 runs. They've put on pretty good defensive showing. That's hard hit, but foul down the third base side. Phegley lost his hat trying to chase that one down, took a couple of hard steps, and then realized how foul it was going to be. 1-1 to Steinke. Just double checking. Gio Jackson, just making sure he's struck out. He's faced 5 batters. Oop.
He has struck out 4 and he walked 1.
We are live tweeting the game. This is obviously a recording. Up and into the eyes of Steinke. Anthony Felke couldn't hang on to that one. It's 3-1.
I don't know what that first hashtag you typed was.
We are live tweeting the full count there to Steinke. Strike called. At LVH1 Live, we are going to tweet as many of the games as we can, especially the next couple of weeks. We'll be very busy. Here's the delivery, swung hard, and that'll be a hit to left field. Single for Steinke. That'll bring up the top of the order for Clay. Number 29, KG Parkhurst, coming to the plate. Just well hit there to left field. Phegley couldn't make a play on that from third base, and by the time
Steinke.
Felke, Nick Felke, and by the time Nick Felke and left field got to it, he was then
single already had happened.
Yeah, back. Fogel with the catch there, but not in time. So quick check of the runner. Once again, takes a good lead off first base. He wants to run. He's already, I think, stolen one.
Now Stevekin's first time on.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm remembering someone else.
Some of these players do look similar due to stature and size.
That was awfully generous of you, Dennis. Thank you.
I'm being nice today. Got him.
Close.
Ooh.
Oh boy. Caught him sleeping, as Coach Will says. Corey Stewart, our base umpire for the IHSAA today, and the Diamond says, nope, safe at first still. But that definitely woke Stevekin up. Here's the pitch. Ball 2, 2-0 the count for Horvath. Here's the delivery. Behind. Felke thought he had it. Kind of a quick look around, but not a lot of chasing. I mean, Anthony just thought he had it. I mean,
yeah,
pure and simple. So not a lot of urgency there. So ball 3, and suddenly Stevekin is at second base.
I'm just happy Anthony didn't check his glove and then look around like, where'd it go? And the runner get third from that. He knew that he didn't feel it when he squoze, so he just had to go.
I'm going to stop you right there. I don't think squoze is in the dictionary.
Well, I don't know what other word
hit
you would
over.
use.
Can't get to it. That'll be hit into shallow center field. Another runner score, so an RBI single there for Clay, and they've cut the lead now to 1. Good hit there by Parkhurst to drive in Stevekin for the Colonials. That'll bring up J.P. Keogh.
Number 2, J.P. Keogh.
And time called by Coach Brian Lawler.
This is a good timeout. I think you need to have a good, and he is almost immediately. He's going to make a pitching change. So let's take a look what's going on. Phegley, it looks like, will come up to the mound and pitch for the Lancers. That'll move Parker Horvath to second base.
I believe so.
And let's see what else.
That'd be Riley Cox then to third, I believe, or it's going to be a change that I have not seen this season.
Well, we'll figure it out. But either way, it will be Phegley pitching from the mound for the Lancers as opposed to pitching from center field. I suppose I should clean that and eliminate that phrase out of my phraseology.
Yes.
Well, Coach Gradeless said, one of the tough things about this team, it's experience. They've got the juniors. It is their team for the next year as well as this year, but 11 men on the roster means there's not a lot of error for injury, for pitching changes, so you gotta be aware of that.
No, there isn't, but if you go through and look at the Lancer lineup, I think you have 5 or 6 pitchers. I mean, Steinke pitches very well. Horvath pitched very well until he got into that little bit of a jam in the third that kind of carried over to the fourth, even though he escaped the third. DeClark has thrown very well the couple games he's thrown. Phegley has done excellent. I saw him close out that game against Triton, and Riley Cox has even thrown a little bit for the Lancers.
So it'll be number 14, Phegley on the mound for the Lancers. And that'll bring up number 2, Keogh.
Second base is Parker Horvath. Number 5, Riley Cox moves over to third base. And now pitching for the Lancers is number 14, Anthony Phegley.
Now pitching Phegley.
Going to second is Horvath, and going from second to third now is Riley Cox. Phegley coming in and facing the number 2 batter, who is 0 for 1 on the day with a walk.
Just updating a couple of things here. That was Parkhurst with the single, right?
Yes, the RBI
And that'll
single.
be a try at second. Backing it up there is Parker. His delivery straight in.
Must
Ball 2 called, though.
Must
2
have
and
been
1.
a little high. I mean, that right down the middle of the plate. Up.
Calling for it.
No, he
No,
would have been rifled.
No. Tough play there in center field. That'll be double checking. That is DeClark again. He's been busy out there.
Yes, he has.
That was quite a run. That could have gone either way. Center field or right field. DeClark with the catch. Thought about throwing to second. Didn't have the coverage there, so threw to third to make sure that he wouldn't tag up.
Well,
and that'll be at the plate for Clay. We'll double check that. Number 24, Mike Payne.
a good one-hop thrown to third by DeClark, making sure if the ball's in front of the runner, he's not going to run into an out often, if ever. Phegley with another nice strike on the inside corner. But no, on the subject, 4 balls have been hit to DeClark that he's caught, and then he had that one which was a beautiful single with a great effort. So, I mean, he's really been working out there for the Lancers.
2-1 to Payne. Here's delivery. Swung hard. Popped up. This will be another one to right field. And they'll tag up, and that'll send. They'll send Keogh to third base. So with Stoner coming up for the Colonials, it's a sacrifice fly to push the tying run to third base for Clay. And that'll bring up Nick Stoner.
Now batting for Clay,
Trenton
8.
Stoner, pardon me.
Stoner.
Second baseman for the Colonials. Here's the delivery from Phegley. Called ball. 1-0. 2 outs. Top of the fourth.
Once the pitching change happened, LaVille immediately calmed down. I mean, Parker was pitching well, but I mean, when he gets fired up, you could tell it a little bit.
That's for sure. Ball 3 now from Phegley to Stoner. Parker does have, shall we say, a hot streak. Very fired up young man when he wants to be.
Yes, he is.
3-1. Strike one called.
I believe this is the quietest I've ever heard him in my life. I mean, he usually is the guy who's pumping up the team and everything else, and this game has been very quiet but very exciting to say the least.
Phegley's worked it to a full count. 3-2, 2 outs, top of the fourth. Here's the delivery, and that's ball 4. So, runners at the corner for Clay. Greavy coming up.
Greavy has 2 walks on the day. So not exactly sure what he'll do up at the plate this time. And Coach Will is calling he is running on the pitch.
We'll see what happens. Phegley checks first. Here's the delivery. Strike one.
He already has changed to the next pitch.
He is definitely wanting to stretch his legs from first base there. Tying run at third. Lead run at first. There it goes. Felke won't try and get it over the plate, or over the mound, pardon me.
Well, I think with the runner on third, that was a wise decision.
Chance for that to go very sour very quick. So Phegley, 1-1. Here's the delivery. Swung hard. That'll be straight to Parker Horvath to first base. So that'll end it for the top of the fourth. Horvath to Fogle. And at the end of the top of the fourth, the Lancers still lead 5-4 over the Colonials of Clay High School. You're listening to LVH1, voice of Lancer Athletics.
From Jamestown to Jonesville, from North Salem to South Milford, From River Forest to Grass Creek. No matter where you live in Indiana, you can enjoy high school sports coverage at its very best on the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. It's 35 powerhouse radio stations, Fox Sports Indiana, and the World Wide Web, combining their vast resources to blanket the state, the Midwest, and the world with the purest, most riveting presentation of high school sports in America. From Anderson to Attica, Kendallville to Kokomo, follow the high school sports that make our state great all season long. Thank you, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, and welcome home.
It's going to be a busy couple of weeks for LVH1. We are going to be on the road tomorrow. Check that. Let me make sure my calendar is pulled up. Tomorrow we face... Boy, I'm really confused. Now I'm going to have to double check. Let's try this again. Hi, I'm broadcasting a baseball game. Matt Florian alongside Olivia Urban, Dennis Fights doing color and our stats. Very pleased to have you with us here on LVH1. Riley Cox at the plate for the Lancers to get the bottom of the fourth inning going. Lancers had a commanding 5-0 lead before giving up 4 runs on 5 hits to the Colonials of Clay High School, Clay South Bend, bringing in a 9. Let me double check that as well. They bring in a 7-5 record in the Northern Indiana Conference, 12-8 overall this season. Here's the delivery, swung hard. That's a 2-ball delivery, so it'll be 2-1 to Riley Cox. Outside, ball 3-1 to Riley. He's been waiting to find a good groove as a contributor to this team as a freshman. Ball 4, good eye. He'll take first base, and that'll bring the top of the order up for the Lancers. Leading off, number 8, left fielder Nick Felke. He'll face number 11, Gio Jackson, who has been absolutely lights out for the Lancers. He came in as a relief pitcher for the starter, Jake Downs, who gave up 5 runs before being relieved. And in relief, Gio Jackson has been absolutely phenomenal. I'll bring Dennis Fights back in. Welcome back. It's been an interesting evening of back-and-forth baseball so far.
Yes, it has. LaVille scored 3 in the first, 2 in the second. And then right now the Colonials are on a 4-0 scoring streak anyway, getting 3 in the third and 1 in the fourth.
Felke fouled off towards the first base dugout. 1-1. Wild pitch. Lost it. Parkhurst can't chase it down in time. That'll send Riley to second base. Time called. 2-1 is the count. 2 balls and a strike coming to Nick Felke. Felke's already had 2 hits on the night so far. 2 hits and 1 run scored, I believe. 2 runs scored. He's made it all the way around both times. Bunt coming. Up, and that'll be back. Can't get to it in time. Parkhurst nearly at the wall. Went down on one knee. Not sure if he tripped or if he saw what was coming and wanted to brace himself. Either way, you know, another one of those things, Dennis, you always worry about when, you worry about when the pitcher's got a ball hit back in him. You worry, especially in some of these ballparks, all over the place with the high school. You don't know. One isn't going to be the same as the other.
Or colliding into a wall, even, or fence. I mean, some have give, some don't.
Popped up. Calling for it behind the plate is Parkhurst. Riley Cox is going to stay right where he is at second base. So, pop up for Nick Felke. That'll bring up Anthony Felke.
He has 2 walks on the day, so he is 0 for 0 unofficially.
Anthony's got a runner at second. Swung hard, popped up. That'll be straight to first base. Easy catch there for the first baseman. That'll be Colin Greavy. That'll bring up Adam Steinke. He's got 2 hits, I believe,
Yes.
through the
Adam
Steinke.
3 of the Lancers' 5 RBIs come from his bat, with 1 more on the pond currently.
Riley got a big lead off second base there. Strike 1 called. Gio Jackson, I think this will be his 7th, 8th batter faced for LaVille, and he's retired 5 of them to strikeouts, I believe.
4 of them.
4 of them. Check that. Popped up again. That'll be over and back behind the backstop in the press box. That'll land in someone's yard behind us.
He's only given up bases off 2 walks, so very consistent pitcher.
Here's the pitch. Swung hard. Chopper to third base. Riley Cox. Good base running there.
Close.
By Riley. Close call at first base, but the call is out. Riley, and I'm going to just point out Riley did a good job there. He may not have been aware that it was second base, but it was good heads-up base running there.
Yes, it was.
Just trying to figure out what the best play is. Lancers take a 5-4 lead into the top of the 5th. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics. It is going to be a busy couple of days here at LaVille, especially for LVH1. Exams are next week for our students, but we will be very busy the next couple of weeks with baseball playoffs and sectionals, as well as softball sectionals here. Tonight, here at the LaVille Baseball Diamond, your Lancers will take on Rochester. That's the 19th of May, Thursday. On Friday, LVH1 will travel down to Knox High School to get the HNAC softball playoffs going at Knox. And then the Lady Lancers will return to Newton Park, and that will be the HNAC tournament. Safe. Anthony Phegley couldn't hang on to that. Jared Fogle will get the toss, and that'll be safe at first base. How are we scoring that?
I'm giving that an error on a good play by the Lancers, but just the tiny little details we always talk about right there, just couldn't hold on for the out. But good effort by all players on that play, including Connors, who made it to first.
Strike called. Ortiz tried to lay down a bunt there. Try and push Downs along a little bit. Connor, pardon me.
You're fine.
LVH1 will be at Newton Park for the HNAC tournament. Good hit. Nice bunt over to Fogle. Took a couple of steps over to second base. He will keep Connor there. The games at Newton Park, I believe, if the Lancers lose at Knox, they will play at 10 a.m. Saturday morning. If they win, they will play at noon. They will play at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. We will have all those games recorded and uploaded on the YouTube channel. We will be live tweeting them. We hope you will follow us if you are on Twitter at LVH1 Live. At the plate now, Arndt fouled off. A lot of positive chatter there from the dugout and from the Clay faithful that have traveled down to Lakeville for this game. Arndt looks like he can hit. He's got a runner at second, tying run at second, And there,
Line
whoa,
shot.
straight back. And, that'll be, can't play that one. Really, really great heads-up grab there by Riley Cox at third base, and smartly throws to second, but they couldn't make a good play there. I think Adam Steinke is they're chattering a little bit back and forth, saying you can't just make a blind throw to second, and I have to agree with him there.
I think it was a lack of communication, as in, was he going to throw it to Steinke, who was headed to the base, or was he going to throw it to Horvath, who's playing second base on the other side, and he just threw it in the middle, and no one was there to catch the ball.
2 outs. 0-1 to Steinke.
But good play, and I believe Clay wants to play a little small ball here, trying to get that 1-run deficit to a tie ball game.
That was the interesting thing about that play, as Steinke takes ball 1-1 the count, 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. You know, Riley didn't need to really hustle too terribly much. Popped up. Felke calling for it. Can't get to it. Had a little conference there with Jacob Phegley and Jacob Phegley and Phegley there coming together. Sun's at a tough angle. It was right on the edge of the shadows for the trees behind us here at the LaVille Diamond. So it's 1-2 to Steinke. Pitch straight back at Phegley, and that'll do it. Nice, easy toss over to Phegley, and the Lancers escape the top of the 5th. They have a 5-4 lead over the Colonials of Clay High School here at LaVille. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics. Bottom of the 5th here at LaVille. Parker Horvath leading off for your Lancers. Strike 1.
Horvath has struggled on the day, having 2 strikeouts. One of them came right off of the pitching change in the second inning, though, not having seen Gio Jackson pitch before.
Chopper, foul ball. Back in the direction of the Lancer dugout. Horvath has kind of struggled to find a little bit of a momentum, a little bit of consistency, rhythm, really. I mean, he's just working hard on the ear. High, ball 1, high and outside. 1-2 the count to Horvath.
Jackson looking for his 8th strikeout on the day, or 8th team strikeout on the day. He has 4 personally.
Outside ball 2, 2-2 the count. Your video is brought to you by Miss Olivia Urban, doing a fantastic job in her first ever baseball or softball game. Called strike. So that's the 5th strikeout on the day for
Jackson.
For
Jackson.
LaVille, number 12, Justin DeClark.
Parker knew it, too, once it went by him.
You know, and I'm going to double check that, actually, because it says number 11 on the mound, and I'll bring in Coach Will on this one. It says number 11 is our pitcher for Clay, but his jersey says Stoner, I think, or it's Chance Stover. All right, well, I don't know who Geo Jackson is, but he's been collecting all sorts of admiration from
Yes, he has.
the last couple of innings. So you know what? He can take a break.
Yes, I was going to say, we apologize to him, but Mr. Stover is pitching excellent.
Little things.
Nothing we should have known there. I mean,
Well,
the lineup says it's Geo Jackson, so, I mean, that's what we went with.
You know, just the eyes, you know. Outside, ball 2, 2-1 the count, 1 out. Bottom of the 5th, Lancers are hanging on to a 5-4 lead. Couple of big batting innings for Clay to get them back into this game. Here's the pitch. Inside. 3-1.
Stover wanted that one to be a strike, but DeClark is happy it wasn't called one.
Yeah.
It was close. I mean, both pitchers for Clay have been accurate, but just missing the strike zone.
Ball 4, and I think that'll be the first time that Stover has walked a Lancer this game. That'll bring up Jacob Foley.
Third walk of the game,
Really?
first of this inning. Yes, he entered in the second inning. So I mean, he's been on the mound for a majority of this game.
I could have sworn he only had 1, maybe 2.
He had 2, but that would be number 3.
Well, that's why I got the best. That's why I got the best broadcast team in baseball today. Here's the pitch. Chopper, that'll be up.
Takes the out.
Phegley, that'll be recorded as a fielder's choice.
Yes, it will. But the lead runner does advance to second, trying to extend the LaVille lead.
That'll bring up Phegley, who's
Batting for
been
LaVille, number 14,
pitching in relief
Anthony
for the
Phegley.
Lancers.
I think the rest of this game could be a pitcher's duel between Stover and Phegley.
Low. Called strike 1. Phegley's only batting 164 on the year. Played in all the games. He's had 11 RBIs, though. Outside, ball 1. Good eye by Phegley. 1-1. 2 outs. Bottom of the 5th. He's got a runner at second. That's DeClark. Swung hard. Strike 2.
Just a little bit behind the ball.
It's that.
If he chokes up, I think he can get the pitcher's timing right on here.
Stover's just been, you know, he's just been maddeningly unpredictable.
Foul ball,
Fouled
but caught.
and caught. So that'll be the end of the 5th inning. Phegley will strike out, swinging officially. Lancers are still working a 5-4 lead. Top of the 6th coming up. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics.
Traveling in a fighter combi on a hippie trailhead full of zombies. I met a strange lady, she made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. And she said, do you come from a land down under? Where women go and men wonder. Can't you hear the thunder? You gotta run, you gotta take cover. Buying bread from a man in Brussels.
Top of the 6th here at Lancer Baseball Field. Stepping up to the plate for the Clay Colonials, number 29, KG Parker's top of the order for Clay. Dennis Fights to my left, Olivia Urban to my right on the video camera. I'm Matthew Florian. Welcome to another LVH1 broadcast of Lancer Athletics. Beautiful evening here. One of not too terribly many we've had all year, unfortunately. It's been pretty hit and miss with the weather for softball and baseball, but we've got a pretty good one going here today. 5-4 is the score in favor of the Lancers of LaVille. 0-2 the count. Ball 1 in the dirt from Phegley. He's been pitching in relief of Parker Horvath. Top of the 6th, no outs. 1-2 the count to Parkhurst. Here's the pitch. Swung hard.
Fair.
That'll be a fair ball. Nope.
No.
Foul just inside.
I'd call that about 2.5 feet at the most.
If that. That's awful generous.
I mean, I'm on that hit. I'm on a bad angle to judge, but I mean that was close.
Well hit by Parkhurst and well chased down also. Credit to the left fielder, Nick Felke, working hard to get out there. That would have been a tough play either way. It would have been extra bases for sure.
Yeah.
1-2 to Parkhurst. Phegley getting the sign from Anthony Felke, Nick's brother, behind the plate. Here's the pitch. Swung hard, straight back. Phegley gets it, but can't get in his glove. Swung. Got him at first. That was close.
What a play. That's ESPN Top 10 material.
Right there. Clay faithful may not like it, but that was right under the eyes of Corey Stewart, our base umpire for the IHSAA here. Good call, good stretch by Fogel, too. Phegley, good effort getting there.
That was as close as you're going to see.
J.P. Keogh now at the plate. Ball 1. 1 out, top of the 6th. Defense for the Lancers doing a fantastic job so far. Inside, ball 2.
Parkhurst has to be wondering what exactly just transpired. I mean, that too close to call. Happy I wasn't the umpire on that one.
Oh, yeah. High, ball 3, 3-0 now. On the year as a pitcher, I'll see if I can pull that out. Phegley's got a 2.53 ERA, ball 4 there, and Keogh will take his base. Mike Payne coming up for Clay. Phegley's got 2-2 as a starter, and 27 and 2/3 innings pitched. Again, you get a lot of different players having a lot of different pitching experience when you only have 11 players on the roster. 21 Ks, 5 base on balls, 10 earned runs, 21 runs, and 32 hits for the young man on the mound. Doing a fine job.
Yes, he is.
Inside called strike 1. 1-1 the count.
Facing what I personally believe is the toughest part of the lineup. I mean, he has their best batter on the day grounding out to him on the close play.
Anthony wasn't going to make a throw, but loses the ball, and that's just extra insurance. Keogh advances to second base, and I think we'll have to double-check how many stolen bases that is for Clay so far today. Here's the delivery from Phegley in the dirt again. 3-1.
3 stolen bases. They've got 5 bases. 2 of them have been on pass balls as well. So they are getting extra bases from the Lancers here.
Ball 4. That'll bring up number 8, Trenton Stoner, second baseman for Clay, and now Phegley's got himself in a bit of a pinch. 1 out, top of the 6th, runners at second and first.
Stoner is 0 for 2 on the day. He's flown out to second, and he grounded out to third. and he's been walked one time as well.
Inside, ball 1. Here's the sign. Here's the pitch. Ball 1. Phegley's all over the place right now. Ball 2, pardon me. Yeah, 2-0 the count. I think this is a time where if I'm Anthony Felke, I call time, have a quick conversation. Delivery, again, ball 3.
I agree with you here. I mean, if he gets walked, the bases are loaded, and even though you have Grieve up, I mean, he's, in a trouble situation, but you will have a force out at any base. But I believe having only the 1-run lead, at least the corners will play in. Maybe the middle will try to roll it if we get to that scenario.
Strike on that last pitch. Here's the delivery. Hard hit. That'll be over the head of Felke to the fence. 1 run will score. Here comes the second. So it's a tie game, top of the 6th. Good hustle out in left field by Nick Felke, getting the cutoff into Adam Steinke.
Yes, it was.
RBI double there for Stoner. And it's a tie ball game, top of the 6th. Greavy coming up to the plate for Clay. The advance run on third. Runners at third and second for Clay.
He hit that ball on a rope to the fence. I mean,
yeah.
And a smash up the middle. That's going to score 1 at least. Rounding play at the plate, and Mr. Osterhauser said that one best in my opinion. I don't think he should have cut that off. 2 RBI single, though, for Greavy.
Good effort by Fogel coming over from first base trying to do the cutoff, but, again, you just got to get it there. And now it's a 2-run hole for the Lancers. Still a 1-out situation. Nick Connor at the plate for Clay, runner at first, top of the 6th. And there goes the runner. Felke gunning for second, not going to make it in time.
I'm amazed Coach Lawler hasn't called a timeout recently just to calm down the team a little. I mean,
you really have to. I think Phegley, another pop up, and this will be playable for Steinke if he calls for it. Close enough to second base that he will keep Greavy at second.
Now batting for Clay, number 5, Carlos Ortiz.
2 outs for the Lancers, and I mean, just a couple big plays for the Colonials have changed the outlook of the game completely.
Phegley delivery, strike 1. 2 outs, top of the 6th. Lancers now trail 5-7. Giving up 3 runs this inning. Swung hard to Riley Cox. First base, and that's a good play. Riley Cox really finding a niche for himself this game at third base. Lancers get out of the inning, but the damage done. They have lost the lead. 5-7 is the score now in favor of the Colonials of Clay. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics. Bottom of the 6th here at LaVille alongside Dennis Fights, Olivia Urban. I'm Matt Florian for LVH1. Very happy you're with us. Josh DeLaurel leading off for your Lancers. Bottom of the 6th inning, they have a 5-7 deficit to come back from. Trenton Stoner hit an RBI double, and Colin Greavy hit a 2 RBI single for the Colonials of South Bend Clay. They lead 7-5 over your Lancers.
Very opportune time for the Lancers to come back in the game, but I mean, really, if you're LaVille, you have one opportunity to get to the top with Nick Felke, Anthony Felke, Steinke, and I mean, DeClark have really been keeping the team alive. I mean, Nick's 2 for 3. Anthony scored 2 runs, being walked twice. Adams 2 for 3. DeClark's reached base twice, being walked twice. I mean, other than that, the stat sheet looks kind of blank for the Lancers.
The 2 errors for the Lancers really are pretty key at this point. Clay's committed 0 so far. Good eye there.
Yes, it was
from
indeed.
DeLaurel. Full count. He's worked it.
Let's see how many unearned runs LaVille has.
Here's the pitch from Stover. Swung hard. Miss. DeLaurel struck out swinging, and that'll bring up Riley Cox.
6th strikeout of the day for Stover. 10th for Clay overall. Just excellent pitching staff for the Colonials.
10 Ks on the night for South Bend Clay. Phenomenal job by the Northern Indiana Conference team.
So 1 unearned run for Clay with it coming on an air, but I mean, what can I say? They've been hitting at the most opportune times with runners in scoring position, just scratching them across the plate.
Swung hard by Riley Cox. One of these days he's going to connect. He's going to send it yard. Coach Steve Cox knows it as well. I mean, he's just been cheering for his grandson since day one, as you know, as a grandpa is supposed to, obviously.
Well, I think right now he'd just like to see a base hit and just start the momentum back for the Lancers.
Riley's got the makings of a great all-around athlete, just needs a little bit more time to mature. In the dirt, ball 3. Great eye there by the young freshman. Also making a name for himself on the Lancer basketball team, helped contribute Coach Michael Edison throughout the year. It would be great to see how he does in the next few years. 3-1, here's the delivery from Stover. Outside, ball 4. Riley Cox does the best thing, as you said, Dennis. Base on balls, gets on base. Let's see if we can get something going. We're back to the top of the order. Number 8, Nick Felke. And he's
needs some momentum
2 for
here.
3. Yeah, 2 for 3 on the day for Felke.
Against Stover, the first 3 in the batting lineup have each only faced him once, but they're 0 for 3 combined. So, I mean,
swung hard. That'll be a playable, I think.
Single
to second, toss to second base, not in time. Cox takes second. Nick Felke takes first base. Anthony Felke, and that is, as you said, that'll break the 0 for 3 slump the leadoff hitters have had against Stover. Anthony Felke coming up to the plate for your Lancers.
I think LaVille is starting to get a little bit of that energy back, but still being in the hole. I mean,
outside. Timeout called by Parkhurst. He'll have a conversation with his pitcher. All sorts of power behind that young man's arm. Finally I have to having a quick conversation there with some of the assistant coaches. He's huddling up with his teammates in the infield. I have to give a shout out to Mrs. Chris Stout, the choir teacher and magical director here at LaVille. She was kind enough to loan us a microphone for crowd noise, which is something we've been missing from our broadcast. Not sure if we'll be able to use it at Newton Park with that wonderful sealed.
yeah.
Coach, Mr. Cox on the and the crowd goes wild. It is on. It's omnidirectional, so we're going to have to be careful up here, gentlemen.
But, I mean, it has just been something completely different at this boys' game than at the girls. I mean, it is quiet, calm, relaxed. I mean, girls' games, you have the chanting and everything else happening.
I'm sure they'd encourage you. Swung hard. That'll be connected. Foul ball. We'll see if they can make a play on it. They cannot. So runners will stay first and second, 1 and 2 for Anthony Felke. I was going to say, Dennis, I'm sure they'd appreciate it if you stood up and started, we love free bases.
Yeah.
We love free base.
I think I'd get beat up after the game, too.
Now the question is, by whom? The baseball team, the Clay baseball team, or the softball girls for stealing their chant? That's the $64,000 question there.
If I had a bet, I'd bet number 1 would be Coach Waller, number 2 would be Adam Steinke, and then the rest of the team would just start in after that.
Well, I think our videographer Olivia Urban had the best one. Just whispered all of them.
I think that would be 2. Then again, I just think that Clay would just point and laugh at me.
2 and 2 to Felke. Swung hard, struck out. 2 outs for the Lancers. Anthony wanted all of it. Stover had a really good delivery there. So that'll bring up Adam Steinke. And we'll see if we can get some base running.
Stover with 7 strikeouts on the day.
Unbelievable young man up on the mound there for Clay.
Wish I could see some statistics from him, and he picked him up.
Oh, man. Caught Riley Cox sleeping, got out of the inning. What a great play there. Signal from Parkhurst got the play in motion. Stover with the pickoff. Riley Cox clearly frustrated there at second base, but Coach Lawler says that's what you get when you get caught sleeping. You got to keep an eye on it, and he's having some words of wisdom for the young man out there between second and third base. So that'll be the end of the 6th inning. Final frame coming up. Lancers take a 5-7 deficit going into the 7th inning. You're listening to LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics.
Travel on, there's one day here and the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn your back to the wind. There's a world outside every darkened door where blues won't haunt you anymore. Where the brave are free and lovers soar. Come ride with me to the distant shore. We won't hesitate to break down the garden gate. There's not much time.
Change in the lineup for the Colonials of Clay High School. That'll be number 31, Cruz, coming up to the plate. Santana Cruz stepping up for the Colonials. They have a 7-5 lead over the Lancers. Coach Will, I'm going to trouble you again. The confirmation, the first name of the pitcher for Clay. Stover. DeClark can't get to it in time. Drops it. Had it in and out.
I'm calling that a single. I mean,
yeah, that's
maximum effort from him this whole game and just 2 hard-hit singles at him that he's tried to make plays on.
Chance Stover, thank you.
Play number 32, Cole Steinke.
Bunt coming, beautifully laid down. Riley Cox has it, scoops to Phegley. Out at first. Good sacrifice bunt down there to try and push the runner along. Just looking for insurance there. Parkhurst, top of the order for Clay. Number 29, Parkhurst, coming up.
2 for 4 on the day. Just LaVille's had a tough game get away from him. I mean, leading 5-4 most of the way through the stretch, and in the 6th inning, just giving it up. Nothing that LaVille did at fault, though. Just good baseball by both teams.
Double check. Chance Stover on the mound for whoa, up and off and into. I think that may have been. Looks like that may have been caught by Anthony Felke's mask there. He is okay, shaking it off. 0-2 the count to Parkhurst.
Yes, it is. And it's just
Well
going through
hit. Justin DeClark with the out. Center field. How about that diving play for that young man?
He's made enough chances at him that he had to make a big play there. I mean, 1 for 3 on just what I would call magical catches.
Oh, absolutely. How about it? That? How? It's at a small school like LaVille, as number 2, J.P. Keogh comes up to the plate for Clay, 2 outs, top of the 7th. How many all-around athletes are just absolutely special young men and women here at this school. Swung hard. That'll be straight to Parker Horvath. Scoop, toss over to first
3
base.
outs.
Phegley records the tag at the bag, and that'll do it for the top of the 7th. And the Lancers have a 2-run deficit to dig out of in the bottom frame. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Lancers trail 7-5 on LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics.
From Jamestown to Jonesville, from North Salem to South Milford, from River Forest to Grass Creek. No matter where you live in Indiana, you can enjoy high school sports coverage at its very best on the IHSAA Champions Network, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. It's 35 powerhouse radio stations, Fox Sports Indiana, and the World Wide Web, combining their vast resources to blanket the state, the Midwest, and the world with the purest, most riveting presentation of high school sports in America. From Anderson to Attica, Kendallville to Kokomo, follow the high school sports that make our state great all season long. Thank you, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, and welcome home.
Final frame here at the Lancer Baseball Diamond alongside Dennis Fights. Olivia Urban are on video, and Matt Florian is your play-by-play. This is LVH1. Very happy to have you with us here. It's the bottom of the 7th inning, and it couldn't have been a better hitter for the Lancers to try and get some offense going. Adam Steinke coming up to the plate.
Well, for the Lancers, you have one really hot hitter. You have Horvath, who's really struggled on the day, getting struck out 3 times. You have DeClark, who's been walked twice and struck out once. And then Phegley, who's 1 for 3 with a single, the fielder's choice, and a strikeout. So, I mean, LaVille's in a spot here where hopefully they can get a little momentum and a couple runs to extend the game anyway.
Tipped off. And that was about as close a chance as Steinke has had the last couple of at-bats. 0-2 the count. Here's the pitch. High, pull it back in time. Ball 1.
He was thinking about it.
He wanted that one until he saw it was about at eye level.
I think if we weren't in a deficit, he might have went, but he has to play some smart here with 3 outs that LaVille's used to try to get in the game.
Another high pitch there from Stover has been fantastic on the mound for the Colonials this evening.
Can't say enough.
In the dirt, ball 3, it's full count.
Stover's allowed one run through 5 innings. I mean, what can you really say about that young man?
1 run and 7
Oh,
Ks.
my apologies. 0 runs.
0. I was going to say.
That run went to the last pitcher. Just 7 strikeouts and a solid pitching performance.
Unbelievable. Delivery. Fouled up. Way to foul one off. A lot of crowd noise here. Courtesy, once again, thanks go out to Mrs. Stout for loaning us one of her wonderful microphones.
I'd say the LaVille fans really want to see Steinke get on base somehow.
Full count delivery. Here it comes. Wow. Adam wanted that one back. He had a couple of hard looks for our plate umpire today, Mr. Tony Gogler.
Parker Horvath.
Even if it's a full count, you still have to protect, especially in that scenario.
I think his complaint was more along the lines of that was called a ball 2 pitches ago.
I think so as well, but I mean, still have to be using everything at your disposal. I mean, if you don't like it and you're not sure, foul it off and hopefully get a new one. If you get a dribbler into the field, it happens. At least you're fighting up there, and coach really can't say anything about that.
Horvath at the plate for the Lancers. 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out. Bottom of the 7th, the Lancers trail 5-7. They face the Colonials of Clay High School. Here's the pitch. Inside.
LaVille played really well today. I just really would like to see us come back, but I don't know against Stover.
Here's delivery. Inside. Ball 4. Parker Horvath took a hesitating look there. It's like, is that ball? Is that really a ball? But as is, that'll be first base. Justin DeClark coming up to the plate for the Lancers. So the tying run at the plate and warming up in the circle is Jacob Phegley. Inside, strike 1. Parkhurst
catching really well.
Yeah, Parkhurst has been doing phenomenally. Chase Stover's been doing a fantastic job. I mean, what else can we say about this relief pitcher? Swung hard.
Or we could even go as far to say this team, 0 errors on the day. Everything going right. And just like I said, LaVille's only given up 1 unearned run, so it would still be a one-run lead for the Colonials. But, just hard-fought game.
0-2. Here's the delivery. Fouled off. Way to foul one off for DeClark. He's got a runner at first. Good hit would put the Lancers in a good position. Home run would tie it. Stover takes a look over at first base. Parkhurst shaking it out, getting a sign from his coaching staff in the dugout for the Colonials.
Big, wide open space in left field if you see that. The right fielder for a pull hitter is playing almost in line with where the second baseman would be if they weren't trying to roll a double play. Huge gap.
1-2. Here's the delivery. Swung hard and missed. DeClark goes down swinging. 2 outs, and Phegley needs to make something happen here for this Lancer team.
Batting for LaVille, number 26, Jacob Phegley.
Yes, he does. Phegley is 1 for 3 on the day, like I said. Ville down to their final out with the tying run at the plate.
Swung hard. That'll be dribbler to first base, and that'll do it. Your Lancers' final score here at home, they fall to the Colonials of Clay High School. 5-7 the final score. Clay improves on the season to 13-8. Lancers fall to 11-10 on the season in this non-conference game. Final line score, Clay wins 7 hits,
8 hits.
I'm sorry, 8 hits, 7 runs, 0 errors, 13 strikeouts for the Colonials on the evening, 10 left on base. Lancers lose on 5 hits, 5 runs, 2 errors, 2 strikeouts, and 6 men left on base for the Lancers. You know, I mean, it's a great outing by, a really great
both teams.
team. I mean, yeah, both teams. I mean, just a really good job. But, you know, it's Coach Lawler really said it the best way coming in. This is going to be a tough team. We have to play competitive. We have to catch the ball. You know, it's a disappointing loss.
It is, but it's a quality team you lost to. I mean, everything went wrong under my official stats anyway. I mean, nobody's
Dennis's official stats.
Well,
Here we go.
I have Parker Horvath with the no decision, exiting the game with a 5-4 lead. The blown save going to Phegley, and Stover picking up the win with 9 strikeouts, allowing 0 earned runs in 5 innings. I mean, actually 5 and a third inning. Impressive outing by him. I mean, that's nothing more you can say. LaVille played very well besides those 2 errors, giving up one earned run. I mean, great game by both teams, just not LaVille's day.
We're going to wrap up our broadcast here in a couple of minutes. Final score, South Bend Colonials beat LaVille 7-5. It's been a great night for baseball. We will have another night of baseball back here tomorrow. Your Lancers will take on, I believe it will be Rochester.
Correct.
And that'll be a 5 p.m. first pitch. We will be here. We will record the game. We will have it on LVH1 on our YouTube channel. If you haven't followed us, I don't know why, because you're here, you're watching it on YouTube. Just click the little follow button. Get it done there. And also, make sure you follow us on Twitter at LVH1 Live, where we live tweet as many games as we can, as many games as we broadcast. Thanks especially today to Coach and Athletic Director Will Hostrauser for helping out with the announcement, so I didn't have to do that. Doing a fantastic job as always. Thanks to our videographer and LVH1 student, Olivia Urban. Thanks to Mr. Dennis Feitz, keeping book and keeping me sane and keeping me on track and being one half of the probably second or third best team in high school baseball broadcasting in the state, but don't tell anyone. I'm Matt Florian. Very happy that you're here with us. Once again, your final score today from the LaVille softball or from the LaVille baseball diamond. Lancers fall to the South Bend Colonials of Clay High School 7-5. We'll be back here tomorrow for the game against Rochester. That's a 5 p.m. start time. Until then, thanks for watching, and as always, go Lancers! You've been watching LVH1, the voice of Lancer Athletics.